everyone, Happy New Year, it's Bex, Planner UK, and I just wanted to film my December journal flip through of my pages. So in December, I was somewhere towards the end of this journal, I think. Oh. So this is where my December pages started. So it was day 235, 1st of December. Elvis the elf was back. My kids were delighted. There was the ongoing debate in terms of Scotch eggs and whether that is a substantial meal, because if pubs were serving a substantial meal, then they could stay open. So that was quite amusing, actually. So in this journal, I'd printed and prepped the pages in advance in terms of more COVID related imagery, which I thought was a good idea in terms of documenting the pandemic. It isn't just about the words, is it, and the news, it's about the imagery as well. That's probably even more powerful. So here are my pages. This was interesting. A friend's mum literally coughed once at work and her boss just said, "Oh, just in case, just go and get a test." But it wasn't even a big coughing fit. It certainly wasn't the 3 bouts of coughing per hour that I think is the guidance for getting a test. And yeah, she went for a COVID test and actually she did have COVID. So it just proves that obviously a lot of us are carrying it and not really aware of it, perhaps. I really like this. Need more wine. I quite like this paper. It's the way that it went crinkly. It's not like great paper in here. It's a journal from Sainsbury's, but it coped with my fountain pens okay, but not, as you can see, there's a bit of bleed and stuff. So, I've just remembered I should have filled this in. This is Elvis the elf, and I was listing where he was each day, where my children found him, but I haven't finished the list. I was keeping a track. So I think I was a bit fed up here, by the looks of it. I was a bit fed up of coronavirus. I'd had enough. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. Quote from Abraham Lincoln. Fourth of December. Live more, worry less. So obviously the vaccine was in the news a lot. Have you seen these? So this is at a Flaming Lips concert and fans were provided plastic bubbles from which to watch the band in concert. And these are PPE suits designed which are drink and vape friendly for enjoying nightlife during the pandemic. Just made me laugh, really. And did you know this? In Scotland, the Scottish Government has banned background music and hospitality and events venues in an effort to combat COVID. An order by the government says it's aimed at preventing customers from raising their voices in order to be heard. So it makes Scotland the only country in the world to completely ban any sound at all in venues. And hospitality businesses are asking for clarity on the reasons behind the ban. I found that from an event magazine. I didn't actually realise that was the case. So if anyone is from Scotland, is that still the case or not? This is the ACC in Liverpool, which is an events venue that is fantastic and we've used a number of times. This was obviously, I had some event and conference magazine and just really interesting articles I like to include in my journals. I think it helps to give context, doesn't it, and look back on them. So as you can see, some days I'm fact, I've not even finished that page, have I? I think I wanted to write a quote in there, but I've never gone back to it. I think during this period, I had a lot of essays during in terms of my master's course. So, yeah. So this journal was from Sainsbury's. It was £3. It's lovely, isn't it? But then I thought it was a good idea to move into this really glittery one. I have used a glittery one earlier in the year, which looks a bit like that. I'm obviously drawn to glittery journals. But this one is amazing. Like the shine and the reflection. It's just great. Although I was a bit worried because it is quite sharp. So in terms of carrying it around, particularly alongside my ink dory, I didn't want it to get scratched. But anyway, it was a fun journal. I'm not entirely sure where this journal came from. It doesn't say. It has got a pocket at the back and a ribbon. The paper isn't the best though, but it has got an elastic. So I'm not entirely sure where it came from. It may have been a gift, or I bought it obviously a long time ago that I can't actually recall, which is unusual because normally I'm good at recalling where my journals came from. So I haven't done the cover page. I need to kind of finish off. I normally write, you know, the journal number and when I used it. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to be able to attach this along the spine like I normally do, because it isn't the same as my other journals, but hopefully I can get it to stick somehow. So I was very grateful that Kerry Dawn Illustration sent some beautiful stickers, illustrated stickers through to me, which were just stunning. So this was the first spread that I did. Obviously the stickers are that beautiful. I didn't need to do anything. I just put some background paper and stuck them down to show them off because they are stunning, aren't they? So thank you, Kerry. So the first page was the 8th of December, day 241 of when I started counting my journaling. This was some wrapping paper, I think, which I really liked. So trying to include some detail about how the Pfizer vaccine works. So yeah, my oldest daughter was 5 on this day, so this I was writing at midnight. This was the day my grandma unfortunately passed away. So she was age 90, she'd had a good innings, she was a very strong lady. So I was just recording some memories and things here. Rest a page out. These are quite cute post-it notes that I have. So I just finished reading, or I was currently reading, The New Science of Radical Innovation and the Hunger Games prequel. And I'd started reading The Courage to be Disliked, which is like a psychology book about Adler's theories, which was interesting, and Homer Juice, and I've just listed some of the things that I want to read as well. So it was a Strictly semi-final. It was obviously the Brexit trade deal negotiations still going on, which didn't look promising at this point. I do wish that I did this more often. It's so simple, isn't it? When I just highlight in a different colour or make bigger the kind of key point, it makes the text really easy to like skim over and to read. And I should do it more often. I'm not really sure why I don't. I found this really interesting. This was detailing how much each celebrity on Strictly gets paid. And obviously it depends how far they get. And the winner gets £100,000. So that was quite interesting. I actually thought that it was determined by how much of a celebrity each person was. I didn't realise that it was like a set rate. But I do love Strictly. I would love to be a celebrity just so I could take part in Strictly. So I really like these stickers. If you want to see the writing in any more detail, do head to my Instagram account, Planner UK. I am hoping that I will have a better camera at the start of this year sometime, so it will help with filming, but we shall see. So I do love the library service. Our library has actually a free app where you can actually borrow a lot of titles like digitally as well, which is just amazing, as well as hard copy books from the library. So if you haven't been to the library recently, I would say go and check out your library service. This was a book that my son actually got for Christmas because he loves Harry Potter, so it's by J.K. Rowling. I went into Preston Christmas shopping, so I was just kind of documenting the good and the bad about Christmas shopping during COVID times. Obviously the shops were open, so but obviously just talking about it. My oldest daughter is in reception and they did a Zoom nativity and she was so excited about it. Bless her. And I was really glad that they still did it and we got the chance to see it as well, because I didn't think it would be able to happen. So have you got a word for 2020? I still need to decide on my word for 2021, but evolve was actually my word for 2020 and it was very apt, but it was for very different reasons to the reasons why I thought it would be appropriate, obviously. So a lot of things changed in 2020, but not the things that I kind of expected or wanted to change. So yeah, I need to give some serious thought to my word for 2021. I quite like doing that each year. So these are some lovely goodies from the Kia Creates calendar that had arrived, I think, on this day. So I have included these in here. And yeah, this is... I really want to learn brush lettering. Obviously, I'm absolutely useless at it. I've never had any training. We did do a fantastic session at PlannerFest, but obviously I didn't really get a chance to sit down and take part in it. So, and it's my own fault. I've, got a sheet from that workshop that I could kind of work out, but I haven't. But I thought, actually, instead of just kind of waiting to kind of teach myself, just experiment and just kind of play about with it. And obviously this looks awful, but at the same time, who cares? I'm not the type of person that is a perfectionist. My journal is about kind of creativity and growing and doing whatever the hell I want to do, really. So yeah, so I think that's a note to self that I should do that more often. So this page, this was some UK job losses from COVID, which is just awful, isn't it? Depressing reading, but yeah, these are some obviously big names and the amount of jobs that they have cut already. At least 200,000 jobs, it says. These were some notes for my grandma's funeral. I felt it was really important to get up and say a few words, and so I asked the other grandchildren to kind of share some of their memories as well, and we kind of, I wrote a speech based on what they shared with me. So, but I was just wondering, would I have to wear a face mask when I spoke in the church and things? So anyway, it felt right somehow that it went in my journal. So this was a sobering fact. More people have been killed by COVID in the last 9 months in the UK than civilians were killed in the UK during World War II. That was 64,000 during World War II. That's crazy, isn't it? And then this professor from Yale University has said, forget Easter, life won't be back to normal until 2024. Which is quite a depressing thought, isn't it? It was obviously the Strictly final, so well done to Bill and Oti. I'm a really big fan of Oti. A fan of Bill as well. He was a great contestant, wasn't he? So I was just saying here, a quiet Christmas just got even quieter. This is when they changed the 5-day, was it a 5-day bubble that they were planning for up to 3 families, but that was reduced just to Christmas Day for the rest of the UK unless you were in a tier 4 area, and then it was stopped completely. You couldn't meet with anyone. So we were planning a quiet Christmas anyway, but obviously it got even quieter. If you can hear a little baby, I've got my little baby girl with me now, knocking the camera. It's just got really dark as well, hasn't it? I've tried to switch the light on. Sorry if it's in shadows and so forth. Some stamps from a Christmas card or something. So 500,000 people had the first dose of the vaccine in less than 2 weeks, which was amazing. This was the day of my grandma's funeral. So this was my grandma. It's my dad when he was younger. So yeah, I just used... In fact, this is quite a funny story actually. I put together the order of service using Canva. Sorry, excuse my inky fingers from my fountain pens. I re-inked my fountain pens last night. Put together the order of service on Canva and sent it to a local printer over in East Yorkshire to print it. And when my dad collected them, I hadn't specified the size, so they were actually A4 size. Have you ever seen an order of service that's A4 size? They're always A5, aren't they? So anyway, it was quite funny. Dad joked that it wasn't really handbag size. So this is a lovely poem that we had during the service, and we put in the order of service as well. So yeah, there's my grandma. So this is a bit of a shame that I was writing, I think, about the funeral and some memories. My daughter did a lovely picture for me on the other page with Corolla glitter pens, but unfortunately it all bled through. So that's a little bit of a shame, but there we go. So with these lovely stickers that I mentioned earlier, my son was inspired to create something as well. 23rd of December. Obviously all talk about the new strain of the virus, what people have said. My mother-in-law, I took her for her first dose of the vaccine. Just writing about that. I booked Happy Mondays and James tickets for November 2021, so hopefully things will be okay by then. I am baby free now, so hopefully I can just finish off quickly the last few pages. This was Christmas Eve. This was a survey. I actually bought a paper on this day, and this was a survey of what people left out for Santa. So 60% leave out mince pies, 40% cookies, 20% chocolate. I really like this quote: "Don't let us make imaginary evils when you know we have so many real ones to encounter." That's so true, isn't it? And I think we're all guilty of that. English language, words and phrases. This was all about the Brexit trade deal. That was announced at the last minute. In the paper, this was the stories of 2020 that you might have missed. That was quite interesting. So I created this pocket so I could save it. So I actually skipped Christmas Day. So this is actually Boxing Day, the 26th. And this was some beautiful wrapping paper that I saved because I loved it. I thought it was really cheerful. And the tag. I just wanted to use it in my journal because it was so pretty. These are actually from the crackers that we had some crackers that you fill yourself that we made on Christmas Day. So I quite like the pattern on this one. So waste not, want not. And my daughter got some metallic acrylic paint, so we were just messily painting the corners of the next few pages. We drink more cider in the UK than any other country in the world. Did you know that? I am a cider drinker, so Here I just wanted to note that I'd written in a different journal, so it was just more a note to myself to look at that journal. This is a Japanese image, but it's a legend in Japan anyway that it appears either before a famine or before a pandemic. It's a mermaid. So I tried to draw an illustration that I found on the internet. I was watching Inky Rocks on YouTube, who is a big fountain pen user, and I was watching some videos about some of the amazing shows and events that happen in Japan. And it said that November's a really good time to visit Japan, so hopefully one day, 1 November, I will get to visit Japan and these fantastic events. 29th of December. My daughter got a pixie flyer, which is an amazing Christmas present, which is this toy that flies, but it actually knocks over all the Christmas cards. It has like a gust of wind almost underneath it. So I got sick of standing up all the Christmas cards several times a day. So actually I thought, well, the prettiest Christmas cards could maybe adorn my journal pages, and at least I can still class it as Christmas and get away with it. So lots more that I could say, but I am not going to go into detail because I need to get back to my baby girl. This is when we'd gone into tier 4 though, so I was kind of writing that we are now in tier 4. Wazzock, that's a Yorkshire saying that I actually heard, so I wanted to write that down. This is from Robin Sharma, a morning mastery mantra, which I thought was quite interesting for 2021. And then these last pages were kind of just general writing, rounding up, reviewing my kind of reading aims for next year, journal and planners and changes I'm going to make for 2021. Actually, on New Year's Day, I actually had a bit of time to actually sit down and just think about things. Some pictures. And then I moved into my new journal for 2021 on the 1st. So even though I was still just filling up the last few pages here, I started my new journal on the 1st of January, which I was quite pleased about. So thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year to everyone, and I will see you really, really soon. Take care.